Hey everybody, I am actually following up on my elemental videos, and this week is all about the element of air, the mental body, the mind. I'm going to be working with the wind and the elemental beings of air. And so I wanted to come in with some messages. I'm going to pull a card from the Sacred Medicine Oracle deck and also talk a little bit about the mental body and little things that I've been implementing. So lately, I have been triggered. I have been triggered and I've been looping in my mental body. I have been faced with a lot of things that are of awareness, and it is beautiful, it is awesome, and it is also can be a little difficult at times when I am in my mental body, when I'm in my loops, when I'm in my bashing stage, when I'm having all of these things come up, and it can be a little overwhelming. And so, as I'm learning how to navigate through all of these things, as I'm not learning how to have my tools to use, I'm implementing little things that are helping me on my journey. Because as I'm unwinding these mental thoughts, as I'm unwinding these programs and beliefs and all of these different thoughts and outlooks, I'm learning, I'm going further, I'm having results. I'm getting excited because instead of being stagnant, and I'm seeing little changes and results, and it's giving me hope and it's motivation and it's pushing me to share with you guys and also try new things. So, something that I started implementing recently actually is little changes, because I've learned that in my mind, I can be kind of rigid. If I'm on a loop, I'm going to the past, my body's in a fear mode. I'm like, okay, I'm in a negative mindset. And so I've learned if I can pull myself out of this, if I could do these little changes, then I can pull myself out of the loop and see where the trigger is, see where all of these things are. And so something I've started doing is just little changes. My glasses, I usually wear black ones, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start wearing my blue ones. That's a small change, but as I'm allowing myself to do these small changes, I'm taking the big leaps of faith. Just little different things like that. In my bathroom, I had two sinks, and I was like, I'm going to start using the other sink. I'm training myself to start allowing myself to see, wow, these changes are small, but they're easy. And as I'm allowing myself to do this, I'm allowing myself to push my boundaries. And I know this seems like a really weird thing, but as we allow ourselves to take leaps of faith and as we allow ourselves to make those changes, then we can switch our thoughts, we can switch our beliefs, we can switch those patterns. And so that's something that's came up for me. If you feel called to implement little changes, implement little things, instead of walking on your normal route, go a different way. You drive a certain way on your way home, try a different way. And you never know what could show up for you. And as we do that, we allow ourselves to expand. One thing that I've learned in my mental body is I've learned that in order to not have these negative thoughts or these loops or these things that I perceived as bad and that make me feel bad, I keep myself small. My solar plexus scrunches up and I limit myself. So I don't have those thoughts. So I don't feel that way. As I'm limiting these thought patterns, I'm learning that I am limiting my expression. I am limiting all types of things, because if I'm only allowing in a small amount of things, if I'm only allowing in a certain amount of thoughts, or I'm only allowing myself to go so far or only be seen by these people, I'm really limiting what I'm bringing in, what is available to me. And so I realized that I had a mechanism in my solar plexus that really keeps me small, because I deem certain thoughts bad. I don't want to have these certain thoughts. And as I'm learning to unwind that, I have to allow myself to express myself and release these things, that I realize that half the time these thought patterns and loops are not even me. They're other people's energy, they're programs, they're limitations, they're things stuck in my telepaths from others, they're judgments I have on myself. And so as I'm allowing myself to express myself and really unwind and think like, stop judging my thoughts, is when I'm seeing all of these results. So if you're in a negative mindset or loop, allow yourself to just let it out and understand, like, okay, am I limiting myself? Am I judging this? Is this even mine? And as we start to ask the questions like, why do I think this way? Is this belief true? Is this thought true? Sometimes we get in these negative loops and we're like, why even try it anyway? That's just an example of a thought. Or I put myself out there and I failed. I'm failing. I'm a failure. I'm suffering. These are things that I've heard in my loop. I'm suffering. Well, if I keep hearing this in my head, then my brain's going to show me, yes, you are suffering. Here's all the different ways that you're suffering. Well, if I step back and think, okay, I had this thought. Why am I having this thought? What is triggering this thought? Who was I thinking about when this thought was coming? What was I doing when this thought was coming? What emotions are there to show me? And as I started unwinding these things, I realized, it stems from a childhood program. It stems from a failure. If I just clear up this failure and acknowledge these emotions, then I realize that I can let it go. And instead of being in a suffering mode, I can start in a thriving mode. I can start having this motivation. So that is an example. Another thing that I'm realizing is distractions. So we are faced with so many different distractions throughout our whole day. We have our phones, we have the TV, we have the kids, we have work, we have all of these different things vying for our attention. And if we're not careful, we could get distracted. It's like, that's how I am. I feel like I'm ADHD. I'm bing, 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 bing. And as I'm not really focusing on these certain things I want to accomplish, they get pushed in the background. And so something else that I'm learning is distractions are going to come in. How am I going to handle these distractions? Am I going to allow them to overtake me? Or am I going to acknowledge, hey, this is a distraction. I'm going to pull myself back to center. And then as I keep doing that, it's going to unravel the habit of getting distracted and pushing all my goals and my dreams and things that I want to get accomplished out. And as I start bringing myself back to center, it becomes easier and quicker. And I realize, oh, that's a distraction. Oh, that's something to pull me out of my loop. Oh, this is a mental loop. Oh, this is distracting me from uncovering this, why I'm having this trigger, because it's painful and it's emotional and I don't want to deal with it. Well, the more we distract ourselves from feeling these emotions or dealing with the triggers or, our goals, we're just prolonging the process and pushing ourselves back and suffering more and getting back into that loop. And it's all just a big cycle. So those are things that I'm working on, that I'm going to set the intention when I bring in the healing this week, is to help heal the negative mindset and beliefs, distractions, and other things that are showing up, limitations that we put on ourselves, judgments, all of these different things and how they all come full circle. And so I'm going to pull a message from the Sacred Medicine Oracle and see what messages for our highest and best good that can relate to the mental body and the element of air for today. And so support came through, and also family. And so the two things that I'm recognizing is the air, the smoke, and also the sun and the elements and the trees to call in that support. A lot of times when we get distracted, we have the tools that we could implement. We can call on our angels. We can call on our beings. We can call on the elementals, the element of air. Go outside, ground yourself, connect into the earth, connect into the sky, calling the animals, utilizing all of these things for support to help us. And I really feel like the family card, I'm seeing like the loop, the spin, and a lot of the things that we take on from our family. We take on from the bloodline. We take on from our ancestral line. And a lot of these things were asked to be cleared up. Judgments that we've taken on when we're little, that, things that our mom said, our dad said, our brother said, things that we hold on to that were said to us when we're like 4 or 5. And, that one comment loops in our head. And every time we try something new, we hear that chastising or that comment when we're little. And that can even be unconscious. So it's about bringing all of this into the conscious awareness. And as we do that, we're calling in joy. We are calling in peace. And this brings in peace for our family and the generations to come. As I'm working on myself and the way that I talk to myself and my own look and beliefs and programs, I'm seeing it reflected back to me and my children. If I'm sitting there and I'm in a negative mindset, I'm almost seeing it kind of reflect back to me and my children, who's, moody or grumpy, or it's always being reflected back to us. And as we allow ourselves to uncover and really expand and heal is when we understand things in ourself at a deeper level, and it helps the people around us, our family, our bloodline, friends, partners, all of that kind of stuff. So it's all connected. And one thing that's coming up is Archangel Raphael is a beautiful healing angel, and he is also an angel to work with your mental body, with air, working with animals. Birds are coming to mind, different types of birds, hawks, ravens, owls, flying insects. I'm super excited to see what comes into the healing that would like to support us. But, just calling on the elements to help you, and calling on your higher self to ask, how could I help my mental process? How can I help my solar plexus? What action am I being called to do today? And so making those little changes, being aware, being really conscious with your thoughts, catching the distraction and coming back to center, using your tools, trying new things. I'm always constantly trying new things. And it's like, as we allow ourselves to really expand and connect in, is when we see those results, is when we find what works. And as we unwind those habits. And so that is the message that I have for this week. And I am so excited to bring in the healing and channeling. And I hope you guys have a good one.